Welcome to this fourth session of Tips for Tired Parents. Today we're looking at holding our children and ourselves in meltdown. So first of all, let's distinguish between tantrums and meltdown. It's important to know that so we know how to respond. So tantrums are emotional outbursts where your toddler needs or wants something. Children can get very frustrated just because they can't express themselves. They can't express what they're needing. So identifying underlying needs can help calm your child in a tantrum. Meltdowns, on the other hand, are involuntary emotional response to a sensory overload. So they can happen as a result of being too tired or overstimulated, and they're different from tantrums, and children need different things. So when having a meltdown, your child needs you to be calm and to help them regain their sense of control, which could be by allowing them some space just to go through what they're going through, or it could be to stop the stimulation that's happening. In these cases, in meltdowns, guessing feelings and needs might be helpful later, but in the moment, words will just be another sensory input and possibly not helpful and could possibly exacerbate the situation. So guessing feelings and needs later is going to be helpful with meltdowns. And it's really helpful to teach your children and yourselves about the brain. And I find this model really helpful, which Dan Siegel developed a really kind of easy way of understanding the brain in terms of the downstairs brain, which is where we have our emotions, our anger, our meltdowns, our initial responses to things, our reactivity, which is housed in the limbic system, and the amygdala. This is the fight and flight. This is our emotional response. And then the upstairs brain is the place that allows us to think, to make decisions, to have control over our emotions, to have empathy and self-awareness. And it can be really helpful just to have that metaphor of whether you're in the downstairs brain or the upstairs brain. Even that might be really helpful for children. And there's another little model from Dan Siegel, which I find really helpful. I'll just stop sharing to share it with you, which is the model of the hand brain, and which we can use the hand here to demonstrate this. So let's say these are different parts of the brain. This is the downstairs brain, the amygdala, where our emotions are, leading to the brainstem. And this is the upstairs brain. So when we're going about our day and everything's fine, our brain is like this, connected, with the upstairs brain kind of in control and looking after everything inside. But if a trigger happens or there's too much sensory overload, what happens is we kind of flip our lid or we disconnect, and the downstairs brain, the limbic system, starts kind of running the show. And what we've been doing in these sessions is using language, feelings and needs to slowly bring the upstairs brain back into connection with the downstairs brain by naming feelings and needs. So it can be, oh, are you feeling really frustrated right now and you're needing a bit of space and time to sort things through? Yes, there's a little bit of reconnection happens there. Are you feeling angry because you're wanting to play and you're wanting some space to play in peace and freedom? Yes. So the language here helps to reconnect the brain. So this is another little model which could help with children when they are, oh, are you like this right now? And, just to symbolize the coming back into connection with the brain. So you can teach this hand-brain model, and there's a little link I'll put downstairs. I'll put below, which shows how you can use this model with your children. That's quite fun. And some needs words is really helpful to input with children. So particularly words affection, attention, alone time, or appreciation. So you can input this by saying, are you needing affection? Are you needing attention? So children can learn to name what they're needing. We are inputting and increasing emotional literacy. So with the phrase that Dan Siegel says of name it to tame it, if we name what's going on for us, we don't let it run the show, we tame it. And if you model these needs words in guesses for your children, they will learn to express what's going on for them in terms of needs. So it's really helpful to understand that through biological and evolutionary design, we get angry. So that's not our fault, but it is our responsibility to deal with it when we do get angry. So what are the buttons, your buttons, that get pressed? So let's turn now to looking at ourselves when we are overloaded or in meltdown. What are your buttons that get pressed? So it could be when your child refuses to get dressed, or when they whine, or when they argue with a sibling. And what does it feel like when you're about to flip your lid? So that's really helpful to know. What does it feel like when you're about to lose it? You know, so what happens to your tone of voice? What happens in your body? What happens to your fists? What happens in your jaw? What happens in your belly? What kind of temperature? What's going on in your temperature? If you're noticing all of these things, then you notice then, so what can I do? And you can take yourself away. You can drink water. You can reconnect with yourself. So you can reconnect first with yourself and then come and reconnect with the child. So let's watch a little video of how important it is to talk with your kids after losing it. Let's share this. So a video with Dan Siegel, it's 1 minute, and I found this extraordinarily helpful.
Any of us can lose it, and what's so important is to speak to your child about it afterwards, so they can take an experience with you that may have been frightening or didn't make any sense, and with your help, they can actually make sense of it. You know, a lot of us feel embarrassed or ashamed that we flip our lids and lose being pulled together, and anyone can do that. But what's so important then is, if that's gone on, don't deny it. Don't act like your child will forget about it, but actually go back, own what happened, what your behavior was, and then try to find out what your child experienced, if she felt frightened or confused or surprised by what you did, and then apologize for what happened and tell them that you're going to do your best to avoid those things in the future, but you're really glad you could help her understand what happened.
So let's just come back to the slides. Let's pull out a few things from that short video. So what Dan's saying is to speak soon after. Don't deny it. Don't think your child will forget about it, because they won't. They will hold this in their memory. Try to find out what your child experienced. Give them space to express themselves. Now, this is really important, because what can happen is you go back to talk about it and you get triggered again, and you don't give your child space. So that's why the feelings and needs that we've been talking through over these sessions are really helpful, because this helps you. This is a support for you. So even if you are completely triggered by what your child has done, or don't even agree with what they're saying, you can still guess their feelings and their needs, to give them space. And that will rebuild a little bit of trust, rebuild a little bit of connection. So, were you feeling frustrated when that happened? Were you needing just some trust, that I trusted you, what you were doing? Give them some space to express themselves, and if necessary, apologize for what happened. So let's just have a moment or two to breathe with all of that. How does that resonate with you? And a few moments just to breathe into what's going well at the moment in your parenting, and what's tough at the moment in your parenting. And to know that whatever is happening, that you're doing your best, and you're here because you care and you love your children and you want the best and you see the best in them, and you want to be connected in your parenting journey with them. I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and I look forward to seeing you again at a different time.